Boom. Keep them coming.
What's going on, everybody? Bobbybarks here, and welcome to the round 2 draw for the 1v1 tournament. Below my face, you can see all the draw has taken place. It happened live on my Twitch channel at 12 PM UK time. So we got Karmatic Assassin versus I Am Super Cool. Karmatic, one of those fantastic bow players, a dark horse for the tournament for sure. Giant Roger versus the Shiv Prince. Giant Roger was a bit of a villain to start with in his round 1 game as he ran away, tried to get out of Morley's way so that he could see that game through and get into round 2. He's going to go up against the Shiv Prince, who was the first guy to do some teabagging in round 1, and is also a bit of a villain, so to speak. We have Mr. Mayhem, Meet Mr. Mayhem, against Unblock Zippity Zap. Unblock had that custom match with Javi FNG in round 1, so it'll be interesting to see whether Meet Mr. Mayhem, who beat Vin725, see whether he wants to do a custom match or whether he wants to play the game out properly. We'll look forward to that. Nyquil Sips versus Barry Bogbrush. Nyquil Sips was a Frontier Shorty player. Nyquil Sips versus Barry Bogbrush. Nyquil Sips was one of those players that used a Shorty Frontier Bomb Expert combination. He beat Abdru 4995 in round 1, and he goes up against Barry Bogbrush, who was pretty good with a bow and the Enforcer. Thomas 6735 versus 40 the Plug, or Shorty the Plug as we referred to him as, because he was another Shorty Frontier Bomb Expert player. Thomas 6735 was the guy who used the 9mm against Jessen DC. He was very, very good with it, very rapid fire rate with it, so that will be a good game. He's going to have to try and keep his distance from 40 Shorty. Look 876 versus Two-Faced Ghost is probably one of the best games of the round. Those two are both hunting rifle players who are both very accurate with it. Both also used a Shorty combination with that hunting rifle, so we'll have to see how those two play that out. Arcane versus Lone Wolf 3204. Lone Wolf was probably propelled himself into the favourite spot for this tournament after his display against Connor. Lone Wolf was absolutely fantastic with the corner shooting with the variable rifle. Tore straight through Connor, who's not a bad player to be fair, but Lone Wolf actually absolutely destroyed him, whereas Arcane really struggled to get through, and is probably one of the least favourites to progress to round 3 after his performance in round 1, although he has told me he's been practising. Tay Gamer versus Soupman. That again will be a great game, both hunting rifle players, so it'll be interesting to see how those two play it out. Daniel 12 versus New 5 Bullet. Daniel 12 got that epic win right in the last video that was shown in match 29, the one that Stokens did the commentary on. He was very fortunate that Razzie 13 didn't shiv him. Razzie got that shiv prompt right at the end, but he didn't get the shiv. Daniel turned around and used the machete and won that game with 5 seconds to go. Name Alex 10 versus Tactical Napper proves to be another great game. Name Alex 10 was very good with the bow, so that will be a game that we really look forward to. And then Valkyrie 887 versus Doc Sosa. Doctor versus Doc will be an interesting round, because Doc Sosa became the ultimate villain of round 1 after his performance against Bruce 8100. Doc Sosa using that Shorty Frontier Bomb Expert combination that we've seen from a few contestants, and he was literally winning by 1 spawn with about 2 minutes to go and went and camped out of the way, and Bruce couldn't find him, and it was appalling, to be fair, but it's not outside the rules. He stuck to the rules, as disappointing it is for the viewer and for Bruce. So Doc Sosa became the villain of round 1, whereas Valkyrie 887 is probably the villain of the community. Valkyrie was very good at this game a couple of years ago. Hasn't played it much recently though, so it will be interesting to see how that one plays out. Buff the Welfare against Possum the Possum. I think everyone knows now that Buff the Welfare is actually Romancer Jones' alt account. So it's Romance Jones against Possum the Possum. If those two play that game properly, it will be a very interesting match to watch, and I hope that they do, because that, for me, is the game of the round. I really hope that Romance doesn't propose a custom match like he did against Crazy Calcium. It might be interesting to play those sorts of games. Certainly not interesting to edit it. Not interesting for me as a viewer in terms of what I like to watch. So I really hope that they play it out properly, because it would be a fantastic game against two very, very good players. Shut Up Walter versus Duncan. Duncan, at the start of this tournament, was the favourite, ripped through Daddy Niner Empire completely in round one. Shut Up Walter, though, he's a bit of an underdog, to be fair. He's quite a good player, and if he plays as well as I know he can, he might stand a chance of getting past Duncan. And then we've got Kanda 6F7 against Hung AF. Kanda will have his work cut out for him there, because Hung is a Shorty Frontier Bomb Expert player as well. So Kanda needs to be fully aware of that, and not do what Bruce did against Doc Sosa and just go steaming in, losing those lives left, right and centre at the start of the game, and giving himself too much of a mountain to climb in the second half of the game. So that is round two. That is what the format looks like. I really hope we get some interesting games out of that. Everyone knows the rules now, so make sure no silenced weapons, no covert training. To be fair, we didn't get any covert training in round one. We did get people using a silenced weapon here and there. I know there were a couple of games that the opponent actually agreed to replay because some people were using silenced weapons. So on top of that, it's the recording aspect. Make sure you set your recording to minimum 30 minutes. You can do that now on your PlayStation. It used to be 15 minutes, but go into your recording settings, change it to 30 minutes, and make sure you press that share button right at the end of your game so that we get that footage. On top of that, make sure you turn your microphone off in your recording settings so that you're not capturing your voice and your party chat's voice. I've got no problem with you being on mic with your opponents or in a party chat with some friends while you're playing it, but if your voice comes through on the video, it makes it very, very difficult for us as commentators to do the commentary while we're listening to people talking. So you can go into your recording settings and turn your mic off so it is not recording your audio, okay? You can still talk, you can still chat, it just doesn't pick it up in the recording. So make sure you do that for us as well, please. On top of that, there's 2 Google Forms in the description below. The first Google Form is for quarter 2 of the 1v1 tournament. If you want to sign up for that, by all means complete that and register yourself for quarter 2. That's going to run between April and June. All the details are in that Google Form if you've got any questions. So have a read through that. Rules are exactly the same. There's no real changes. It's just the dates of when things are going to happen. The second Google form in there is for a 2v2 tournament. So throughout quarter 2, we're going to do a 2v2 tournament as well. Quarter 3, we'll do a 3v3. Quarter 4, we'll do a 4v4. So it just adds some extra incentive to get the community involved, get players to keep playing and so forth. Players cannot register as teams. You are registering as individuals. I'll draw names out of a hat as to who you're partnering, who you're playing. Okay? So you're just registering as individuals. It is just for fun, guys. I don't want people writing in the comment section saying, I'm not signing up if I can't partner my friend. Okay? It's just for fun, alright? It will just be a lot more interesting if we just draw names out of a hat and you get partnered with people that you may never have played with before, that you might have seen play and wanted to play with. I think it will make it a lot more interesting. The reason why we're not doing it for teams to register is because we'll get teams who are just a bit OP compared to teams that aren't. This is a much more fairer way. I think, my own perspective, I think this is a much fairer way and a much more enjoyable way for the tournament to run out. So the 2v2 tournament will run between April and June alongside the 1v1 for quarter 2. And it will just happen in that quarter. We're not throwing it out over the calendar year like we're doing with the 1v1. So sign up for that if you want to be a part of that. On top of that, I've also released a video on my other channel today, which is an interview with... it's the second episode of that series. The first one was with Cursed by Beauty. I originally published it on this channel, and it was very, very popular. Had a lot of views, had a lot of positivity around it. I really appreciated the support, but we've moved it off this channel, and I've moved it onto what is actually my main channel, but it only has that video on. However, you will see a second episode on there if you go click on there now. I'll put a link to it in the description as well, so that you can go click on that video and watch that interview. It's an interview with Raystar. Raystar is a factions YouTuber and streamer. Started branching out into other games, doing Let's Plays and whatnot. Very, very interesting character. Grew up in Iran, lost his father at an early age, moved to England on his own at a very young age as well. Coming over here with no friends, no family, starting a life for himself over here. We talk a lot about that. Talk a lot about him as a character. We talk about his channel and his content. He's one of those characters that's either loved or hated within the community. So I really hope you come there and check that out and listen to his side of story on certain things. So, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you all in round 2. Thanks for being here. Bye for now.